In a world full of chaos and busyness, true art is the ability to pause and live in the present moment. It's the art preached by the sages of ancient times, teaching us to be resilient in the face of adversity and find peace amidst the hustle and bustle of life. Immerse yourself in the world of Stoicism and discover the secrets of mindful presence, attaining inner harmony and unwavering tranquility. So let's begin. In a world where the pursuit of excess and extravagance has become the norm, true wisdom lies in moderation. Moderation isn't just about abstaining from excess. It's the art of maintaining balance, the ability to find the golden mean. Picture ancient Rome, with its magnificent columns and marble palaces, where great minds of the time sought answers to the questions of existence. Moderation in all we do means understanding our own nature and realizing that true happiness isn't found in extremes. Just as a skilled blacksmith knows when to stop to avoid overheating the metal, so must we know our limits to avoid burning ourselves in the flames of excess. In antiquity, philosophers understood that excessive passion and desire could lead to destruction, both personal and societal. In the ancient gardens of the academy, where students listened to the words of the wise, one could hear about the importance of balance in everything. Wine, like life, should be intoxicating but not excessive. Food should be delicious but not abundant. Even joy and sorrow should come in moderate doses, so as not to consume our souls. Ancient philosophers knew that a person who indulges in excess becomes a slave to their desires. Such a person can never truly be free, as their thoughts and actions are directed towards satisfying unreasonable cravings. Recall the myths of gods and heroes, where anyone who succumbed to temptation invariably suffered defeat. But what does it mean to avoid excess in everyday life? It's the ability to enjoy every moment without the desire to acquire more than necessary. It's the ability to find joy in simple things, to see beauty in the mundane. Moderation is essentially a path to harmony, to inner peace that can't be provided by any external achievements or material possessions. Contemplating moderation, remember the image of scales that must always be in balance. Tip one side too much, and you lose equilibrium, leading to chaos and destruction. So it is in life. Our task is to maintain this delicate balance so that each day is filled with meaning and joy. Recall the words of one of the great philosophers: "Be patient, for there is nothing more important than peace of mind." Moderation in all things is the key to a long and happy life. These words were true in antiquity and remain relevant today. In a world where everyone strives for more and better, the wise person understands that the secret to happiness isn't in abundance, but in the ability to find measure. For it's only through moderation that true freedom and peace can be attained, much like the quiet waters of rivers, slowly flowing through the picturesque landscapes of ancient Greece, embody eternal harmony and peace. Wisdom in simplicity is the art of finding joy in the most ordinary things. In a world rapidly changing, filled with technological advancements and endless pursuit of more, it's worth reflecting on the value of simplicity. Let's mentally transport ourselves back to ancient times, when philosophers, surrounded by the serenity and beauty of nature, found inspiration in everyday life. In those times, in cozy corners of Athens or beneath the sprawling trees of ancient gardens, great minds pondered the essence of happiness. They knew that true contentment wasn't found in luxury or external glamour, but in the tranquility of the soul. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, said, ye pay no attention to the glittering externals, seek beauty in the ordinary. These words remind us that true joy is hidden in simplicity. Recall the morning sun illuminating ancient stones, the warm breeze caressing your face, or the sound of birdsong. These fleeting and unnoticed moments fill life with meaning. Each day offers us numerous such moments, and only the ability to pause and appreciate them opens the door to true happiness. Deep wisdom is hidden in simplicity. It teaches us to see the beauty in what surrounds us every day. It could be a cup of hot tea at dawn, a peaceful evening spent with loved ones, or the satisfaction of a job well done. The philosophers of antiquity knew that true wealth of life lies in these simple moments. Wisdom in simplicity also means the ability to let go of excess. Recall the images of ancient Stoics who led modest lives, valuing inner richness over external. They aspired to spiritual perfection, understanding that excess could cloud the mind and distract from the true purpose. Simplicity frees us from the burden of unnecessary and opens the path to purity of thought and action. Every day gives us the opportunity to learn from nature. Just as a tree grows reaching for the light, but remains rooted in the ground, so must we strive for greatness without losing touch with life's simple joys. Nature shows us that great things happen slowly and imperceptibly, like the growth of a plant or the changing of seasons. The secret to happiness and harmony lies in the ability to see the world as it is. Simple things remind us of our essence and our place in the world. They help us remain humble and grateful, which, in turn, fills our lives with deep meaning and joy. In this understanding lies a profound philosophical truth bestowed upon us by ancient sages. Seek joy in simplicity, value each moment, and find meaning in the small. For this is true wisdom leading to harmony and happiness. The separation of the external from the internal is a key concept underlying the philosophy of Stoicism. This idea teaches us to understand that our control over external circumstances is extremely limited, and true power lies in our ability to manage our thoughts and reactions. In the ancient world, where gods and fate played significant roles, the Stoics saw wisdom in the ability to distinguish between what we can control and what is beyond our influence. Imagine the majestic columns of ancient Rome, where philosophers like Epictetus and Seneca taught their students this important truth. They asserted that tranquility and happiness are achieved not through changing the external world, but through changing our internal relationship to it. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." These words remind us that true freedom lies in our perception. The external world is full of unpredictability and chaos. We cannot control the weather, the actions of others, or global events. But we can control our reactions to these events. Ancient philosophers taught that our inner peace should not depend on external circumstances. Even in the midst of a storm, we can find a calm oasis if we understand that our perception is our choice. In antiquity, Stoics often used the metaphor of an inner citadel to describe the human soul. This citadel, the fortress of reason and spirit, remains impregnable to external misfortunes. Wars may destroy cities, elements may destroy homes, but our inner fortress remains safe if we learn to guard it. The inner world is our zone of responsibility, our space for growth and improvement. It's important to remember that our reaction to external events determines our state. When faced with difficulties, instead of sinking into despair or anger, it's worth stopping and asking ourselves, can I change this? If the answer is negative, then it's better to focus on how we can adapt and learn from the situation. This doesn't mean we should be indifferent to what's happening, but it means we should manage our emotions and actions wisely. Epictetus said that it's not events that affect us, but our opinion about them. This teaching becomes particularly important in times of crisis. Imagine sailing through a turbulent sea. A wise sailor understands that they cannot control the wind and waves, but they can steer their ship and use all their skills to weather the storm. Similarly in life, we cannot change the strength and direction of the wind, but we can adjust our sails. The separation of the external from the internal is a constant practice. It's the ability to choose our reactions every day and not allow external circumstances to disrupt our inner peace. It's the art of finding calmness and clarity even in the most difficult situations. Thus, embracing the ancient wisdom of the Stoics, we learn to live consciously and purposefully. We gain a strength that is not dependent on the external world, but emanates from the depths of our soul. This is the path to true freedom and harmony bestowed upon us by the philosophers of antiquity. Developing inner strength means striving for spiritual and mental resilience, which becomes the foundation of our lives. In this process lies a great power capable of withstanding any adversity. By becoming strong from within, we find a support that allows us to remain steadfast in the face of difficulties. Inner strength begins with self-awareness. It's the realization of our own strengths and weaknesses, understanding our emotions and reactions. Constant self-analysis and reflection help us better understand ourselves and our motives, enabling us to make more conscious and rational decisions. Through this awareness, we begin to see the world more clearly, without illusions and misconceptions. Spiritual resilience is related to our beliefs and values. When we clearly define what matters to us, we create a solid foundation on which to build our lives. These values become our guiding light, leading us even in the darkest times. Regardless of external circumstances, our internal convictions remain unchanged, giving us strength and confidence. Mental resilience requires practice and discipline. It's the ability to maintain calmness and clarity of thought in any situation. Regular meditation and mindfulness practices help strengthen our minds, making them less susceptible to stress and anxiety. When we learn to control our thoughts, we become masters of our own destiny, rather than victims of circumstances. By developing inner strength, we also learn to take responsibility for our actions. We stop blaming external circumstances for our failures and start seeking solutions within ourselves. This awareness of our own responsibility gives us the power to change our lives for the better, without waiting for others to do so or for external conditions to change. A strong spirit and a resilient mind allow us to be flexible and adaptive. We learn to accept changes and uncertainties as part of life, not fearing them but seeing them as opportunities for growth and development. This flexibility enables us to remain resilient in any situation, finding new paths and solutions where others see only obstacles. It's also important to surround ourselves with people who support our efforts to develop inner strength. A community of like-minded individuals who share our values and beliefs helps us stay on the right path, inspiring and supporting us in difficult times. Together, we become stronger and can overcome any challenges. Ultimately, by developing inner strength, we create a life filled with meaning and joy. We learn to find harmony within ourselves, which allows us to be happy and content, regardless of external circumstances. This inner strength becomes our most valuable resource, helping us move forward and achieve our goals while maintaining emotional balance and tranquility. Thus, the pursuit of spiritual and mental resilience opens the path to true freedom and harmony. It's a path that requires constant effort and self-improvement, but it leads to a life full of meaning and inner peace. By developing inner strength, we gain the power to cope with any challenges and achieve true happiness. Humility before fate is one of the most important teachings of Stoicism, which teaches us to accept life circumstances with dignity and inner peace. In everyone's life, there are inevitably moments when events unfold not as we expected. In these moments, it is humility before fate that allows us to maintain spiritual strength and not lose our inner balance. When we talk about humility before fate, we are not talking about passive acceptance of everything that happens, but about a deep understanding that not everything is within our control. Ancient philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus taught that we cannot control external events, but we can always control our attitude towards them. This understanding frees us from futile resistance and worry, allowing us to direct our energy to what is truly within our power. Fate often presents us with unexpected trials and changes. They may seem unfair or illogical, but Stoic wisdom suggests viewing them as part of a larger plan that we may not always comprehend. Humility in this context is an acknowledgement of our limited understanding and a willingness to trust the course of events, knowing that there is a hidden lesson in every trial. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "J'accept whatever happens as necessary and beneficial for you." These words remind us that every event in our lives, no matter how difficult or unpleasant it may seem, can become a source of growth and self-discovery. When we accept fate with dignity, we stop struggling against the inevitable and begin to seek opportunities for learning and development in all circumstances. Humility before fate also involves an understanding of the impermanence and transience of all things. Eternal changes are a natural order of things. By accepting this truth, we free ourselves from fear of the future and regrets about the past. We begin to live in the present moment, cherishing every moment and finding peace in the realization that everything that happens is part of the natural flow of life. It is important to note that humility before fate does not mean abandoning actions or ambitions. On the contrary, it inspires us to act in accordance with our values and beliefs, without attaching ourselves to the results. We do everything possible to achieve our goals, but remain ready to accept any outcome with dignity and inner peace. This allows us to maintain spiritual balance and not lose heart when things do not go as planned. By cultivating humility before fate, we also learn to be grateful for everything we have. We realize that every situation, every person, and every event in our lives is a gift that helps us become better and stronger. Gratitude for everything that fate brings us turns every moment into an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. Thus, humility before fate is a path to inner freedom and peace. It is the ability to accept life as it is, with its ups and downs, its joys and sorrows. By accepting fate with dignity and humility, we gain the strength to pass through any trials, remaining true to ourselves and our principles. This is true wisdom, bestowed upon us by the ancient philosophers. Meditation practice is the art of finding time for silence and reflection every day, which is an essential element of Stoic philosophy and spiritual self-development. In the modern world, filled with hustle and constant distractions, meditation becomes a refuge where one can find inner peace and clarity of thought. Meditation is not just sitting in silence. It is a profound process that allows us to connect with ourselves, become aware of our thoughts and emotions, and learn to manage them. Stoics such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius emphasize the importance of daily reflection for achieving spiritual and mental resilience. These reflections help us understand our true desires, motivations, and goals, making us more aware and purposeful. Daily meditation practice begins with a simple act of pausing. In the modern world, where every moment is filled with tasks and worries, this act may seem challenging. However, it is in this pause, in deliberately creating space for silence, that the path to inner peace begins. Meditation allows us to step beyond the daily hustle and look at our lives from a higher perspective, seeing them more clearly and objectively. Silence is a powerful tool that helps us hear our inner voice. In silence, we can become aware of the thoughts and feelings that often go unnoticed amidst the noise of the external world. It is a time for deep self-analysis, where we can ask ourselves important questions and find answers that may not always be evident. In this silence, we learn to be honest with ourselves, acknowledge our weaknesses, and seek ways to overcome them. Meditation also helps us develop mindfulness, the ability to live in the present moment. When we dedicate time to meditation, we train our minds to stay here and now, without getting caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. This mindfulness brings peace and clarity, which become the foundation for all our actions and decisions. Daily meditation practice requires discipline and persistence. It can start with just a few minutes a day, gradually increasing as we become accustomed to this state of inner silence. It is important to find a comfortable place where nothing will distract us and choose a time that is best suited for this practice. For some, it may be in the morning when the world is still asleep. For others, in the evening when the hustle of the day is left behind. Meditation can take various forms. It can be simple observation of the breath, concentration on a particular object or phrase, or free contemplation on a given topic. Regardless of the chosen method, the goal is the same: to achieve a state of inner peace and clarity, to learn to manage our thoughts and emotions, rather than allowing them to control us. Regular meditation practice yields numerous benefits. It improves our concentration, reduces stress levels, enhances emotional well-being, and strengthens spiritual health. Moreover, meditation helps us become more compassionate and understanding, both towards ourselves and others. It opens up the depths of our inner world and allows us to find strength and inspiration for life within it. Thus, meditation practice is not just a relaxation technique. It is a path to deep self-awareness and spiritual growth. By finding time for silence and reflection every day, we discover a source of inner strength and wisdom that helps us cope with life's challenges and achieve true happiness and harmony. The constant pursuit of virtue is a fundamental concept of Stoicism, demanding not only thinking about high moral principles, but also embodying them in everyday life. To be virtuous in every action and thought means tirelessly striving for righteousness, justice, wisdom, and courage, which are the cornerstones of Stoic ethics. Virtue, as taught by Marcus Aurelius, is not just a set of rules, but a way of life that permeates all our actions and thoughts. It requires constant self-improvement and readiness to explore and correct our shortcomings. It is a lifelong process that demands daily work on ourselves. The pursuit of virtue begins with an awareness of our intentions and motives. It is essential to ask ourselves, why am I doing what I'm doing? This helps us determine whether our actions are truly virtuous or if they are driven by selfish motives. An honest answer to this question allows us to adjust our behavior and strive for purity of thoughts and deeds. Each of our actions should pass through the prism of virtue. This means that we should always ask ourselves whether we are acting justly and honestly, demonstrating wisdom and courage in our actions. For example, when faced with a difficult decision, Stoic thinking urges us to choose the path that aligns with the highest moral standards, even if that path is more challenging or less advantageous. Virtue also manifests in our thoughts and inner convictions. Our thoughts shape our perception of the world and, ultimately, our behavior. Therefore, it is essential to cultivate virtuous thoughts, thoughts full of compassion, understanding, and wisdom. This requires constant self-analysis and work on our inner world to cleanse it from negative and destructive thoughts. The pursuit of virtue helps us build strong and healthy relationships with others. When our actions and thoughts are based on virtue, we become reliable, fair, and honest partners, friends, and colleagues. We learn to listen to and understand others, show tolerance and respect, which strengthens social ties and contributes to harmony in society. Stoics also emphasize the importance of setting an example. By striving for virtue, we not only improve our own lives, but also inspire others. Our actions can serve as an example to others, showing that virtuous behavior is possible and brings true satisfaction and happiness. Thus, our constant pursuit of virtue has a broader impact, creating a chain of positive changes in society. The constant pursuit of virtue also helps us cope with life's difficulties. When we are guided by virtuous principles, we find the strength and courage to face challenges. A virtuous person is not afraid of difficulties because they know that their actions are based on solid moral foundations. Such confidence gives us resilience and determination in the most challenging situations. Finally, the pursuit of virtue brings inner peace and satisfaction. When our actions and thoughts are in harmony with our moral convictions, we feel deep satisfaction and meaning in our lives. We know that we are doing the right thing, and this gives us inner strength and harmony that are not dependent on external circumstances. Thus, the constant pursuit of virtue is a path to self-improvement, harmony, and true happiness. It is a daily practice that requires honesty, courage, and wisdom. By embodying virtue in every action and thought, we create a life full of meaning and satisfaction, contributing to the creation of a just and harmonious society. So, we've come to the end of our journey through the fundamentals of Stoic philosophy, filled with the wisdom of ancient thinkers. The pursuit of virtue, acceptance of fate, meditation practice, and cultivating inner strength. These principles all help us live consciously and with dignity, regardless of external circumstances. May these ideas serve as a source of inspiration and guiding light in your everyday life. Strive for virtue in every action and thought. Find time for silence and reflection. Accept fate with dignity and humility, and fortify your inner resilience. May your path be filled with wisdom, tranquility, and true happiness. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of Stoicism. Subscribe to our channel, like, and share this video with those seeking paths to a more mindful and harmonious life. Until we meet again, be virtuous.